I have often taken an interest in humans and their crude dabbling in fleshcraft. The Adeptus Astartes are powerful warriors, but their creations have always been too restricted in their vision. This Primarch, Roboute Guilliman, occludes his mind to so many possibilities, and as such will never achieve the perfection he seeks, the perfection that I define through the practice of my craft. If he wishes to learn from the Master, let him come to me. I will gladly make room for him in my grandest oubliette. Urien Rekath is the Drukhari master of the Prophets of Flesh Coven. A homunculus of incredible skill at fleshcraft, this depraved manipulator of anatomy delights in his fell experimentations. Witness to the fall of the Eldari as among the oldest living souls to have lived before the Great Calamity, Urien has perished many times only to reanimate into an ever more emaciated figure. Not beyond the wrackages of time, Rekath has died by blade, bolter, poison, and worse. His cold remains achieving reanimation by his surgically altered bones, which toil to regenerate his body. The creator of the methods to which the Drukhari transcend the pale, Urien saves the pain of death alike to a rare vintage of wine. Yet with the passing of millennia, Rekath's newest rebirths have caused surplus limbs and organs to be regrown. Hideous in stature, as his bent spine forces him to hunch forward, the skin of his face is made taut with unnatural age, as atrophied limbs protrude from his back. His artificially bolstered metabolism, allowing Rekath's flesh to reknit at incredible speeds. This homunculus welcomes injury during battle as a means to force his body into new, twisted adaptations. Long jaded with the political maneuvering of lesser Comorites, Rekath's stature as an immortal, demigod-like being promises an eternity of torment to any fools who wish to attempt to usurp his power. Spawning mutated horrors from within his flesh pens, racks and grotesques aplenty stagger into battle as pawns to Urien's will. These sculptors of gore and viscera supplementing the forces of covens, cabals, and witch cults allied to Rekath's cause. Armed with strange weapons such as ichor-injecting gauntlets and chirurgeon blades, Urien projects artificial abstractions of his form using a clone field hololith in order to obscure his true location. Busying himself with harvesting components from the slain rather than unleashing devastation, his casket of flensing carried on his person unleashes swarms of malign entities which rip the souls from his enemies using needle-like fangs. Returning the still-conscious brains of their victims to Rekath, torn from the necks of their victims housed within their skulls, worm-like Xenos herbivores writhe underneath Urien's tread as he claims spoils of battle aplenty. Capturing victims to act as canvases for creations anew, to satiate his endless hunger for innovation, Urien's alliance with Azrael Vect during 999.M41 allowed for their creation of a pocket dimension with which to safely store resources for the citizens of the Dark City to prey upon in the event of a demonic invasion. Announcing a grand display of his Sculptor of Torment during the Great Wake of Azrael Vect following his assassination during the Night of Revelations, Archons of the Dark City, both opposed and allied to Vect, gathered en masse, only to be massacred by Harlequins of the Mask of the Veiled Path. Resurrecting Vect and every slain Archon with aid from his Prophets of Flesh, Rekath's efforts imbued Vect as the Dark Muse, whilst restoring those faithful to his cause back to the living. The foes of Vect, reborn as abominable monstrosities, enslaved to Azrael's will. These shambling puppets of the Lord of Comora were a powerful gift of Urien to emphasize the fate of those who would oppose the Lord of the Cabal of the Black Heart. Unleashing his carnivals of pain, comprised of his assemblage of deformed creations, Urien's forces always strike at night, amplifying his need for grim spectacle, as invited onlookers to the raids, aboard pleasure skiffs, delight in the agonies inflicted. Such gestures reserved only for the most privileged Comorites. It is said that Archons too weary to rejuvenate their long-ravaged forms leave the carnivals of pain restored by a century's vigor. Paid favors in exchange for such miraculous feats of restoration, at the behest of Rekath, many a venerated Archon will pay their due, for should they not, small parasitic slitworms laying dormant within their bodies shall mete out recompense, bursting from each and every pore of their skin. Others carving patches of flesh from their bodies as payment for their invitation to the carnivals. Others must surrender sentimental memories or even limbs in order to attend. Infamous as a living legend among such a morbid creed, not a soul within Commorragh knows not the name of Urien Rakarth, as his sordid deeds continue to despoil the stars.